Growing up, I never heard about anything evil when it came to Christmas. My parents always took me to see Santa every year, and I never got coal in my stockings. I believed in Santa right up until about age 9. So every year, I always acted super good in the months leading up to Christmas. You know, as a kid, you want to get as many presents as possible. I still remember the excitement I would get every year. That was the same year my parents worked a lot of late nights, so they would always leave me with my older sister, who was 16 at the time. I never really got along with her. Until now, as we're adults that don't live with each other. My sister was especially mean that year, inviting her boyfriend over some nights. I would threaten to tell Mom if she brought him over again, and my kid mind would make other ridiculous threats, such as threatening that I would tell Santa he would put coal in her stocking because she wasn't following the rules. One day she had enough of my bickering and decided to retaliate. She started out with, "You know what's even worse than getting coal in your stocking?" Of course, me being a curious little boy, I pressed for more information. "What's worse?" I would ask with a tough little attitude. Then she said it. Krampus. I remember the nerve it struck when she said that name. Of course, I didn't know who or what Krampus was, but it just sounded bad. "What's Krampus?" I probed. I can still see her evil grin ingrained in my memory when she told me. "You know Santa isn't real, right?" I always had a sneaking suspicion, but of course I asked, "What do you mean?" "Don't pretend you don't know. Mom and Dad buy all your gifts, and the guy you go see at the mall you call Santa is just a man in a beard doing a job." I wasn't really surprised. This just confirmed my skepticism of Santa. "But you know it is real?" she continued. "Krampus, the evil spirit that takes little boys like you to the underworld." My impressionable mind believed every word she said, and I was terrified. "He comes and takes little boys that tattle. All you need to do is tattle 3 times during Christmas season, and Krampus, the Christmas demon, comes and gets you." Her twisted little mind even brought up 2 other times I snitched on her for something stupid within the past week. This alone freaked me out. Because a week later, I tattled on her for eating my Pop-Tart off my plate. After I tattled, I thought of what she told me the week before. The true legend states that Krampus comes to punish children who misbehave. My sister had twisted the story in her favor. Anyways, here's when things got weird. This was the same year that I realized I was attracted to women. I was in my parents' room one night when they were gone. I was looking for batteries for my RC car when snooping through drawers. Lo and behold, I found my dad's Playboy stash. I looked through the thing for about a good half hour before putting it back. This was a busy Christmas season. The same year I realized that Santa was not real was the same year I discovered women. At that point, nothing had happened with Krampus, so I chalked it up to that story to my sister trying to scare me. But I think looking at that magazine was a big mistake, and to this day, the reason why I got a visit. It was that same night. If I'm not mistaken, Christmas was just days away. I woke up in the middle of the night extremely thirsty. The house was pitch black except for an overhanging microwave light in the kitchen. I got my water, then headed back towards my room. It was at that moment when I heard a noise on the roof. I remember thinking if I was second-guessing myself about Santa being real or not. I whispered to myself, "Santa?" I walked towards the window and saw what I thought was a deer outside the window. I thought maybe the noise came from the deck and not the roof. Maybe the deer had just walked on the deck and jumped into the yard. But I took a closer look and realized I may not be looking at a deer. It turned around, revealing its really large body and glowing red eyes. The antlers were not antlers, but horns. I remember thinking that it looked like the beast from Beauty and the Beast. I was frozen in fear as I saw the creature start walking towards me. We locked gazes, and he smiled, his teeth razor sharp. Then he jumped straight up out of sight, like he jumped straight into the sky and into thin air. I immediately ran into my sister's room. I shook her awake in a state of fear, explained that I saw Krampus. It was then, through her groggy tiredness, that she admitted she made it all up. She got up and walked me back to my room. She flipped on the light and gave me a shocked look. I looked back at her. What the hell is this? She leaned towards my bed and picked up a magazine. It was the Playboy magazine. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. I mean, I was just baffled, and all I managed to spew out was, "That's Dad's." "Of course it's Dad's, you freak," she replied. I tried to convince her that I didn't know how it got there, but she didn't believe a word I said. Just then she stopped me. "If I catch you with this again, I'm going straight to Mom and Dad." I just looked down and agreed. Okay. Luckily, my sister was cool with it. To this day, I never figured out how that magazine got there or what that creature was I saw outside. All I can say is that it's very possible I saw the real Krampus that night. I was being warned for misbehaving. My sister and I have never spoken again about that night. I'm honestly too afraid to bring it up. Hopefully, I will never have another encounter with Krampus.